up, man?
What's up?
Hey, dude, give me a beer.
We're fucking out of beer.
What do you mean we're out?
Fucking out.
We can't be fucking out. I just bought beer.
I know, we fucking drank it all.
Ah, fuck. Are you serious?
Yeah.
What the fuck, man?
I know, bro.
Ah, fuck.
Oh, WTF, there's no motherfucking beer left. I said WTF, there's no motherfucking beer left. I said WTF, there's no motherfucking beer left.
What's up, beer nerds? Welcome back to season 3 of the Final Gravity podcast. As always, your host here, Cousin T in the house.
Oh, hey, everybody. Viking Peaches back again for another season. What's up, y'all?
I decided to stick around too. I'm still here.
Yay, yay.
Oh, he said the last name.
Oh,
Dropping the
man,
names
I'm gonna
for
have to
season
cut that
3.
out again. I'm gonna have to cut that out again. God damn it.
You're giving away your identity, CJ.
If anyone's clever enough to find me, you deserve to find me. And it's not really the pot of gold you think it's gonna be.
Oh, it is more than the pot of gold you think it's going to be. He's a beautiful man. Don't
It's
let him
a
lie to you.
simmering pile of disappointment.
Disagree.
But we're back. We're gonna try and do this one more time. 3's the lucky number.
We've been doing pretty good so far. I know I made mention of
Allegedly.
hitting 600 listens last time we talked,
Hell yeah.
but we are coming in close on 700 now. So people have been listening to our old stuff while
Damn.
we have been on break.
I've been telling a lot of people about it up on the mountain, so maybe some of them have listened.
We should start an OnlyFans account. A joint OnlyFans
A
account.
joint OnlyFans account?
I mean, 600 listens. Let's make some money off this shit.
Fucking A.
Mostly for
Fucking
you,
A.
T. Josh and I, again, have been very well taken care of by this podcast.
Yeah, I know,
Oh, yeah.
I know.
Josh, are we still doing that fishing trip in Costa Rica next week? Is that
I gotta ski. Let's postpone that till the end of ski season,
Okay,
and then some fishing in Costa Rica.
I bought refundable tickets. It's not a
God
big
damn
deal.
it, I hate
Cool,
you guys.
cool.
I
I didn't get refundables, but it's fine. I make enough money off the podcast. I can just throw them away.
Covered.
Wow. Wow. Just fucking wow.
Fuck it, Bucks.
Fuck it, Bucks. God, I hate you.
But
Actually,
anyway, if you want to support Thomas's OnlyFans, T, where can they find you?
I haven't set up my OnlyFans yet. I guess I've been slacking. I'm sorry. It hasn't
do
been.
better.
Yeah, try harder.
Try harder. I'm sorry.
Pull
I'm
yourself
sorry.
up by your OnlyFans account.
Pull yourself up by only your bootstraps, because that's the only thing you're gonna have on your
God.
OnlyFans account.
I hate you guys.
Yeah, back on season 3, and we were trying to decide what to drink for this week, and I kind of threw out the concept of something that Thomas and CJ would hate.
You did a good job on that.
New season, so I figured we should go with new wave. We've heard us all bash on adjunct heavy beers and beers where people are like throwing a bunch of shit into their brew that's not following the traditional German laws of brewing. But it's a very popular thing, and it's going on a lot, and there's a lot more breweries doing it, and honestly some of them doing it decently well. And it's not going away anytime soon, so we figured we should talk about it.
Amen. Well, I
You're right.
came into
You're
it.
right. You're right.
I came into it thinking, and I think we'll get more into this when we start talking about it, that we are really trying to go after what I will humbly call the dumpster fire of adjunct beers. So that's what I kind of tried to seek out, was things that were just had so many pieces of shit jammed into it. It's like, this cannot not work.
See, I tried to find one that I would actually enjoy.
But
I did, and I try to bridge the gap and find a
that's
combination of both.
fascinating. Like, I think it's really important to remember that adjunct brewing for American brewers, that's very traditional, right? Like, corn is an adjunct, rice is an adjunct.
Yeah.
I myself brew with lots of different herbs and spices, which can be considered adjuncts. But there is also another, and especially when you speak of new wave, there's also another trend to try and find anything you can't possibly put in beer and jam it in there. And
There's
so
that.
we will probably get into that deeper, but that's where I tried to seek out for some of my beer selections, was just like, I went looking for dumpster fires. I
Yeah,
went looking
well,
for 'em.
to the for the people listening, this was a It's been a very interesting few weeks. At least in my life, I got COVID. I've been skiing every day. Life's been kind of insane, and the whole restaurant scene in Oregon is still an interesting thing to deal with in COVID. So there wasn't the most communication coming into this season. I kind of threw out the idea of adjunct beers. And so it was kind of up to each of our own interpretations of what that concept meant as far as what kind of beers we chased down today. So clearly, we all went a little bit of a different route, but they are all very specifically adjunct style beers that are, there's things put into them that are not normally there if you're just brewing beer. So
Yeah.
that being said, Thomas,
Oh
what you
man,
got to sip on?
I got a few fucking ringers, I think. And for the first one that I'm gonna be putting down as much if I can is
Hey, no suds left behind.
yeah, that's true. I went with the Left Hand Brewing's Getting Tiki with It, the Pina Colada wheat beer.
Oh.
What?
Yeah, so it's a wheat ale brewed with coconut and pineapple added.
I would just like to take a moment to point out how poorly I poured that.
You know what?
Yeah.
You've done so much better in the past.
Don't you work in the industry, bro?
So this came in a 16-ounce can, 7.5% alcohol, 15 IBUs, good to go from the can, and I think this might also be it's also a nitro beer.
What's please tell me there's a description on the can you can read for us.
Left Hand does make one of the better nitro milk stouts. I will point
I
that
love
out.
Left Hand Brewing. I've actually been drinking on one of their IPAs that my dad's had in the fridge a lot
But
lately.
a nitro, okay, if it's nitro and coconut, pina colada, whatever horseshit, can we also admit that you don't need to put IBUs on your can? Like, no one gives a shit. No one who's reading that can of that beer is like, and I wonder how much the hops are having an impact on the bitterness.
So their description is 6 words: a super smooth passport to paradise.
Okay.
All right, Jimmy.
And to those of you just tuning in, like if this is your first episode listening to us, I would like to point out Thomas and CJ are very traditional brewers. Thomas has the Ram Heish Kebab tattooed upon his fingers, which is kind of why I thought
guess it
this would be
doesn't
so
matter how I
fun.
pour this because it's a fucking nitro beer and it's just gonna cascade out anyway.
Yeah, you'll be fine. I personally am a little less traditional, and I drink a lot of seltzers, and I've kind of been on some of these new waves and stuff, and so I figured it would be fun to throw these two traditionalists into a world of beer tasting that they wouldn't normally even remotely go close to.
In
I'll
shorter
point out that my
words, Josh is a
traditionalism
jerk.
not, yeah, my traditionalism is not rooted in like you have to do things a certain way. My traditionalism is rooted in don't piss on the grave before you learn to walk around it politely. You know, like just like make sure that you
just piss on the grave after you've politely walked around.
Take a minute to. That was the only phrase that could come to mind.
Yeah.
Take a minute to understand traditions before you start to buck.
You
them,
don't piss on the name on the headstone. You piss on the backside of the headstone.
I don't know grave pissing tradition or regular
etiquette.
I'm not sure the etiquette on that.
I don't know.
one.
I just felt like that was appropriate. Like you shouldn't piss on some dead guy's name.
And Josh, what are you drinking right now for this beer?
I picked up an interesting brew. That was my first sip of it, right as you were asking. So I picked up something from the cosmic collaboration between Ecliptic Brewing and Von Ebert Brewing. So it is a blackberry Meyer lemon ale. A blackberry Meyer lemon ale. So this, let's see, the description goes. Brewed with our friends at Von Ebert Brewing, this Kvik yeast fermented ale was brewed with real blackberries and Meyer lemons and finished super dry. A blend of hops, including Strata and Mandarina Bavaria, highlight the fruity citrus flavors of this refreshing beer. Weighing in at a solid 6% ABV. Coming in the 16-ounce cans. This is actually a brand new beer that the gentleman that owns the liquor store that I usually shop for beer at. When I came in and I told him I needed an adjunct style beer, this was the first one he pointed at. He just put it on the shelf like 10 minutes before I got there. So brand new beer from two breweries that I traditionally love. So
nice.
Von Ebert is excellent. Eclipse is excellent. How's it taste, man? Have you taken a sip yet?
I got one little sip, but let me assess. While I assess, what are you drinking on?
As forementioned, I I went searching for dumpster fire beers, which I know I'd be able to find a lot easier in a state like Oregon. And actually, I was pretty impressed to not find a ton of dumpster fire beers when it comes to adjuncts. Of course, the trade-off meant the wall was mostly IPAs, but I went in for the Mother Earth Brewing out of California. They have a barrel-aged stout, coconut cake imperial stout with coconut, chocolate, vanilla, and lactose. Which, because
That's
I
a lot
really
going on there.
despise lactose, I wanted to see what happened here. And then as a second beer, because we talked not only about adjuncts, but I think about kind of.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Okay. Oh, we're just gonna do the first. All right, got
Yeah, one
copy
at a
that.
time, like traditional
One at a time.
tasting.
Well,
So Thomas, how's your beer treating you so
yeah.
far?
Have you gone in for a sip yet?
I have gone in for a sip, and it tastes like a fucking a frozen pina colada that's been left out in to melt, and then cooled down in the fridge.
I can vibe with that though. Like,
I mean, I'm vibing with it, and it's tasty, but
hey, there you go.
it's exactly what it calls. But I mean, like
It's not quite a beer
7.5%
flavor.
wheat pineapple pina colada beer. Like
Wait? Did you say 10.5? What's the
seven,
ABV on that?
7.5, 7.5.
7.5 still huge. Really? That's 7.5% on nitro with pina colada flavors.
That's what the can says. 7.5
Jesus.
alcohol.
I mean,
by
would you
volume.
drink that on a beach though?
Oh, I would drink the fuck out of this on a beach.
Well, okay, wait.
See,
That
there
begs
we
the
go.
question: what would I not drink on a beach? Right?
Okay.
Like, that begs the question.
Okay, let me rephrase that question. If now that you've tasted it, if you were on your way to the beach in the sunshine, would you consider picking up a pack of it to take with you?
Oh, I'd fill the cooler with it.
See, there you
Really?
go.
Oh yeah.
Damn, I'm jealous actually.
I mean, I'd probably just grab like 4 of them because it's 7.5%. I'm gonna be drunk after 3, especially because I'm sitting in the sun on the beach.
Yeah. Damn. Well, you found a tasty one then. It sounds like.
Yeah, it's good. It's just
Nice.
I went over to shout out to Brick's Bottle Shop here in Kalispell, Montana. Thank you guys for
Always a shout out.
guiding me
Gotta love
about
Bricks.
your beer selection to find. I did the same thing. I walked in and I was like, "Hey man, doing a podcast tonight about adjunct heavy beers." He goes, "I've got some things for you."
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't feel like I picked as well as you did. I was really excited about this one. It's okay. I feel like a lot more than the blackberry or the lemon flavor that I was expecting. I get a lot of almost rind. Like I almost taste the lemon rind in it a lot.
Oh, interesting.
It's definitely dry, like they said it was.
Like in a bitter way or what? Like a pithy way? What are you getting?
Or dry.
Yeah, there's just a lot more bitterness than I would expect.
Okay.
You get a little bit of that berry on the sides of your tongue as it kind of goes down the back, and you get the lemon on the back end. But you get, I mean, if you were to imagine biting into a lemon rind and not getting all the lemon flavor, it's got a lot of that kind of dry rindiness to it, in my opinion. And I don't know if that's a blend of the hops and then actually having the lemons in there, and it kind of just doubles up on a certain amount of that. I was expecting a little bit sweeter, a little more there. But I was going for trying to pick an adjunct heavy beer that I would actually really, really enjoy and something that would be nice and refreshing coming into these warmer months. And I kind of failed that task.
The only thing
I'm not going to lie. I'm going to drink this 4-pack of them because No Suds Left Behind, but I don't think this is a beer that I would reach for again.
well,
No offense, Von Ebert and Ecliptic. I do love a lot of your stuff, but this was not my favorite.
Love you,
not,
John. Love you, John Harris.
not
Love
a
you, John
top
Harris.
pick, huh? Not a top pick.
Not a top pick for me.
I will say about this pina colada beer that I'm drinking, like you would almost have to freeze it for it to get cold. Like this has been sitting in the fridge for the last 5 or 6 hours. Like I brought it home warm, and like the nitro part of it, like almost makes it feel like it's not even cold. It's weird.
I get a little cough syrup on this also, actually.
Oh, a little bit of that, like that ethyl alcohol type, or
Yeah.
dark fruit,
Yep.
cherry cough syrup type shit.
A little bit, yeah. A little bit of that going on.
That's a bummer. I really had high hopes for what you were drinking because I love both those breweries, Josh.
I did too. Eh,
I had high hopes for that idea.
can't all be winners.
They cannot all be
well,
winners.
and I mean blackberry lemon. That just sounded like a fucking combination right there.
Oh, jeez, it sounds
But-
amazing. And then with the strata hops, with the I think they went for the you said the Quebec style too. Like I was.
I will
hoping-
say, it's a little warm right now, so I'm hoping maybe the next one that I crack open that's a little colder might be a little more what I was expecting. But because temperature plays a huge factor
Josh,
in flavor.
did you
Sure.
get more than one, or did you just pick up a 6 of one particular adjunct heavy?
I just picked up the 1 4-pack
Okay.
of these guys. Yep. Again, that was that little bit of a lack in full communication on what exactly we were doing there, but.
Well, when we take a month off and people get sick and people have jobs and people don't do
Life
shit all day
happens.
long, being that I don't do shit, CJ works all the fucking time and Josh got sick,
And I ski a lot.
and you ski a lot. But it's good. It's good for everybody. I think that summer is going to be a lot better for us, like moving
Yeah.
forward from here, though.
Well, and with summer coming up, that's kind of why I wanted to do these, because there's a lot of these adjunct heavy beers that have, a lot of these berries and a lot, like, strawberry puree beers and shit. I'm like, well, fuck. Like, a lot of people are going to be drinking that all summer, so.
I saw a
let's see what we
huckleberry
can
beer on
find.
the shelf, and I was like, there's just not enough other stuff with it for me to
Well, I mean,
justify.
there was always the huckleberry beer from Great Northern.
Oh, what was
that
that
was-
called?
Stupidly popular in Montana before they closed down, and that
That-
was.
What was that called? That Huckleberry Lager or whatever they called it.
Oh shit!
uh,
I would say
I
they
just
would
remember-
be mad at us, but they're not open anymore for us to get.
I just
that-
remember they were always hucking people instead of icing people.
right.
Oh,
that, beer,
yeah.
that beer can go to hell and die. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Like R.I.P. Great Northern, dude. Nothing. No disrespect to that brewing operation.
Love those guys, but oh
That
my
beer
god,
can
that
go
beer
to hell
can
and die,
fucking-
dude.
Well,
In
Well-
that order.
I don't even know what that was called. Anyway, CJ, how's your beer tasting?
Uh,
what do we got? Yeah, Siege, come on, man.
I'm drinking Mother Earth. Like so, the best adjunct beers I could find at Marcus, right in Whitefish, where I live, were adjunct heavy imperial stouts. Which, guys, it's springtime, and I can't grab every adjunct heavy imperial stout right now. But I grabbed Mother Earth out of California. I think it's what is it? Coconut cake imperial stout is what I'm drinking. An imperial
Nice.
stout with coconut, chocolate, vanilla, and lactose. And it's 11.8%.
Good
Oh,
grief.
Fuck me.
Good grief.
Bye, CJ.
So I'm
hell?
sipping it.
Fucking
I'm-
goodbye.
I'm going between disgust. Honestly, all right. Let me just hit this right here. Honestly, it's like getting a milkshake at any drive-through fast food restaurant. The first sip is incredible because your mouth hasn't felt that much sugar in a long time, and the second sip is disgusting because you're like, God damn, what am I doing to my body? And the third sip, you're like, maybe I can make peace with this. It is cloyingly sweet. It is like shoving 10 Mounds bars in my mouth at the same time.
I
but it's
love
not bad.
mounds.
It's not bad.
I love
It's-
mounds. I mean,
It
I
smells-
enjoy a good almond joy too, but I don't.
It smells like coconut nail polish, but it tastes
Oh,
like
God.
a Mounds bar. I'm just telling you what. Like, I'm just
Coconut
being
nail
honest about it.
polish? Is that even a
Yeah,
thing?
dude. The alcohol's all over it. It's so hot, and at the same time, there's so much soft coconut to it that it's like, all right, cool. Like this is dope. You know.
Yeah.
This is heavy. I wish I'd grabbed something else. This is
Well,
very
I was-
heavy.
That was the
Alright.
other thing, is like looking on the shelf. I feel like stouts and porters are
Mhm.
so easy for breweries to jump to as something that they're going to adjunct with.
Right.
Like doing the chocolate stout, the peanut butter porters, the
Right.
like cake things and stuff, and the peppermint porters and shit in the Christmas time.
Right. Well, you ain't wrong. I mean, like even just like
And so-
if you look at the general flavor descriptors of just stouts and porters before we had this kind of major craft brewing trend, chocolate, coffee, toffee,
Yeah.
caramel,
It's
smoke,
super easy to jump to
They're
those adjuncts.
all these wonderful flavors that can blend.
So
you
that was
know?
one I was specifically trying to avoid, is I wanted to drink a more adjunct ale or like a lager or something, and
All right, then I'm gonna break out this bad boy for the
But
next go
yeah,
around.
you went straight to the fucking heavy hitters.
Well, I only had two choices. I had really honestly, I had Breakside Salted Caramel Stout, which I've had before, so I wanted to remain somewhat objective. And then I
Yep.
had this Mother Earth beer. That was really what Marcus had in terms of what I considered to be
There-
high adjunct gimmicky beers.
There is a Breakside beer in my quiver of beers this evening, but it is not that one. And I will.
I look forward to seeing. Can I be honest? Like, I bought this in a 16-ounce pounder can, dude. This is a 12% beer. It does not need to be in a 16-ounce pounder can.
Good God.
And that's me saying that. Like,
Fuck.
this beer is not bad. I can
No, that's
feel,
that beer that when you go into a tap room, they pour it in the smaller
right.
snifter
I
because
can
you don't
feel
need
the
as much of
natural
it.
flavors in this beer, but it's not bad. It's just like, I don't want the rest of this. I've had this experience, and thank you for that, and I'm done. You know?
and that brings me to my next beer.
What you got on tap next, Thomas?
Oh
What do you
God.
have?
Here we go. Are we ready? The Dogfish Head Campfire Amplifier.
Yikes.
A milk stout brewed with graham crackers, cinnamon, marshmallows, cacao powder, and vanilla beans.
I feel like I've had a variation of that one. Not with quite all those things, but I'm pretty sure I've had something very similar to that from Dogfish Head. So that's basically the s'more.
It's
a s'more stout.
It's a s'more stout.
right?
That's the s'more stout that Fred was going after, except made with all the fucking adjuncts that we recommended not using.
He not used, yeah. 12
Sorry,
ounce,
Fred.
sorry, Fred. 12-ounce bottle, 6.5% alcohol by volume. And guess what they didn't list was the IBUs because who gives a
Who
shit?
gives a shit? Who fucking
there was
cares?
no IBUs listed
Wow.
on this one, but I'd actually be really curious
Zero
to see
head
what they say
retention
about it.
on this bitch. Zero head retention. I poured it, and I even poured it shitty. It's like, yeah, it smells like campfire and someone melting chocolate on
That's a
graham
good
crackers.
smell, though.
It's
That's
a
I
a
great
actually
smell.
love that smell.
aromatically fucking delicious. Okay.
I feel like Thomas won this night. Just saying.
He got Bricks. Bricks hooked him up with some good stuff.
Yeah, I went in and talked to the fellow beer and sommelier nerds up there, and he was like, yeah, this is definitely the one. But also, like, dude, zero head retention. Like, that does not lend me to believe. Oh God, I really hope this isn't completely flat. Okay, no, there is CO2 in solution. Surprisingly, not as viscous as I thought it would be. It definitely cleans off the tongue, but you can taste all the residual sugars hanging out on your tongue. It's not a very not a what's the word I'm looking here for, CJ? Not a whole lot of big body to it. I mean, it kind of diffuses very quickly as far as like how much sticks to your tongue.
Thin, aqueous. What are you thinking of?
Yeah, it's more aqueous than I was anticipating.
Okay.
Yeah, it's for especially for the amount of adjuncts in it and the lack of head retention. I thought it was just going to be like trying to drink, molasses out of a tree, and it's not. I'm
Does it
Surprised by
taste
that.
like a s'more?
yeah. It literally tastes like s'mores and a little bit of campfire.
Who's doing this beer again?
Dogfish Head.
Dogfish.
Where are they out of?
Where are they?
New Hampshire, right?
Let me grab the
I
bottle.
think so.
New Hampshire.
So, interestingly, I did a little more research. They're claiming my beer is a 55 IBU, which actually I think is about right. But
That's a lot of BUs for that kind of fruit character. Maybe that's what's driving it out for you. and not
it's
giving you a
I
pleasant-
think so.
that's a pretty high hop presence for that kind of style.
It's a hefty beer
Actually,
for
this,
what it's
this
supposed
is quite
to be.
interesting. Bottled or brewed and bottled by Dogfish Head Craft Brewery, Milton, Delaware, in collaboration with the Boston Beer Company.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. I don't know if that mergers. I'm pretty sure there was a merger between Boston Beer and Dogfish Head.
Oh,
isn't
kind of like
Boston
the
Beer-
Deschutes Boneyard merger.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's happened.
Isn't
I
Boston
could be
Beer
wrong on
also
that,
the owners of Sam Adams?
Yes, that's absolutely
Yep.
correct.
Make sure that I have my
Interestingly, this
shit
is actually
correct.
part of a series of beers. Their Cosmic Collaboration line of beers. So they did this one with it's from Ecliptic. They did this one with Von Ebert. They did a Vienna style lager with
Oh,
Chuckanut Brewing,
Yeah. Okay.
okay.
and they did a cold IPA with Wayfinder.
Of course they
Oh,
did.
hey now.
I want to try that one.
I
Kev-
too want to try that one. Kevin Davies.
Kevin Davies.
Kevin Davies.
All right.
The old cold IPA. No, I mean, it's interesting.
That's
I
actually
mean,
a good
again,
beer. That's a good beer.
it's-
I would drink those in like the middle of winter in front of a fireplace on a bearskin rug, like Burt Reynolds style, naked.
Sounds
There you
pretty
go.
nice. I'm
Sounds
into
good.
that.
But it's also almost fucking May, so
So,
why-
wrong
why-
season.
wrong.
Bringing me back around to me trying to buy a beer appropriate for the season, and unfortunately buying one that I don't thoroughly enjoy. But
Super good though.
you know, I think this would be a good one though. Like for someone who likes a hoppy ale, for someone who wants an IPA, but they're not quite looking for that full juicy hazy IPA thing, but they're looking for something a little more fruity and more in that direction. This would probably be a really good beer for someone like that. I am just not that dude. I'm not a huge IPA drinker in the first place these days. It's not what I really reach for. Um, and so then to take a beer that I don't normally drink and then add a bunch of stuff that I don't normally drink to it. It's just a weird combination for me.
Right. Is it marketed as an IPA, Josh? Is it on
Uh,
the can as an IPA?
It says
or-
ale. It says
Ale.
ale, but
but I mean 55 IBUs.
55
that's
IBU.
IPA.
I mean 55 IBU and 6%. Like, this I can picture the customer I'd be selling this to. Like if I had this on tap at the bar, there's a lot of people that I know I'd put this in front of them and they would absolutely love it. I'm not that person. Like I actually, to be fair, like I know I kind of chewed them out from the get go. I wasn't really vibing on the beer. It's a decent beer for what it is. I definitely see the person who would be drinking this and loving it. I'm not that person. This is there. I do. There's a lot of those kind of beer. The Mango Days Pale Ale, for example, from Silver Moon Brewing Company. It's a super mango heavy flavored pale ale. I drink the fuck out of that. We usually have it up on tap on Bachelor, sitting on the patio in the sunshine. One of my favorite beers to get up there. And I like these kind of beers in that way. This one just kind of missed the mark on me.
Copy.
Yeah.
Yep. There's that like lingering, sugary. Mouth
That's just that stickiness that
Yeah.
you got a lot going on in
Yeah.
there. Feeling. Yeah, CJ, how's your beer treating you? Speaking of that.
It's sticky. I'm done with it. You know.
Like Frodo Baggins. What is this and why is it sticky?
I'm done with it. Man.
What okay, so while you're suffering through that, what's I'm curious actually because I know it's not really what you go for much, but what is like one of your favorite really heavy adjunct style beers that you've ever had?
Oh,
Look at him. Look at him. I can smell the smoke from here and we're like 30 miles away from each other.
there's some great ones out there. There really are. Honestly,
I just don't know what any of them are. Not.
honestly, I would give a shout out to Founders Kentucky Breakfast Stout if you can find it. It's pretty fucking fantastic. The maple syrup and barrel aged combination is usually pretty
damn it.
wonderful.
I
Sounds
have
pretty good.
I have a version of that beer as my next up.
I mean, there's
Gang.
the
Oh, do you really? I almost grabbed.
well, there's Rogue Brewing does their Voodoo Donut beer.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Omegang does a beer. Started doing beer in 750 this last year with the Game of Thrones thing, where they did something with fenugreek. It was like an imperial. Brown
Oh,
ale
I
with
had that
fenugreek.
one. Yeah,
Oh.
that was a
That
really
was
good beer.
fucking exceptional.
I had that whole Game of
Um,
Thrones lines actually at one point.
When we talk about super heavy adjunct beers, I would say that Boulevard or the brewery out of California as well, I believe, close to Paso Robles, does some great things with adjuncts that don't feel cloying. I don't like things that feel like. I mean, what I'm drinking right now, it's got kind of a wonderful mechanic to it, but the more I drink it, the more I hate it because it's just heavy. It's just
It's
it's just
There's,
really heavy. There's
it's-
nothing playful about it. It's
it's
just like, oh, did you want coconut and chocolate shoved down your throat? Here you go.
it's
You
like
know?
There's
that. It's like that
there's
free steak meal at the strip house.
Yeah, that's a fantastic.
no, that's a good steak right there, is what that is.
I said
there's
free
one
steak,
actually,
not free buffet.
Wild Ride Brewing up in Redmond, just north of here. They have a really good peanut butter porter, the Nut Crusher peanut butter porter, that on a cold winter day when you want that thicker, heavier beer, it tastes like you're fucking eating a spoonful of peanut butter almost. Which isn't what I normally go for, but also, if you take that beer and you put a scoop of chocolate ice cream in it, and you make, your adult version of a root beer float with chocolate ice cream and a peanut butter beer.
A root beer fruit.
A fruit of the root beer. No, that's a really good combination right
This
there.
this Dogfish Head beer would make a great like beer float beer. Like if you threw like a scoop of fucking vanilla ice cream up on top of that, yeah.
Yeah, I could vibe with that. And that's one thing that these kind of beers are really good for, is like doing that stupid shit that like you would never do that with an IPA. You would never get like
Certainly
your
wouldn't do
vicious
that with a
mosquito from
Pilsner or
some
lager.
river and fucking throw a scoop of vanilla ice cream in it and be like, this is how I'm living my life.
I hate myself. I hate me. I don't like me anymore.
And even, a more less adjunct heavy porter, right? Like I would never go and grab like a Black Barrel from Deschutes. Or like the Black Butte Porter from Deschutes. I would never go pick up like a standard Black Butte Porter and be like, yeah, I should add ice cream to this.
If that's the first thing that hits your mind when you taste a beer, like, first of all, I think you should seek therapy.
Well, I need therapy for a lot of other reasons.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Oh, Thomas, same question to you though. What's one of your favorite adjunct full on beers that you've gone for?
I don't have an answer to that question because I usually don't.
This being the guy with the fucking knuckle tattoos
With
with the
the fucking-
Yeah, with the German purity law tattooed on his fucking hand.
Okay, you should be very clear when you say German purity laws. You should be very clear you're talking about beer and not other things.
Yeah. I'm not talking about like Aryan or the Third Reich here. Okay, I'm talking about the German beer purity law. This
There you go. That's a very
we are not
important
having
distinction.
a conversation about World War II, and I'm not gonna go any further than that because I'm just gonna put my fucking foot in my mouth.
The birds aren't real. The pigeons made World War II happen.
Oh my god.
They're watching you.
There was one beer at Bricks today that the guy showed me. I forget the name of the brewery, but they named it after a pigeon that lurks around the brewery, and the beer is called Lurking Pigeon.
My brother would love that. My brother's all about the birds aren't real shit.
Yeah.
Did you know there have been no deaths on any other planets in the solar system, but birds only live on this one planet? So, clearly birds are the cause of every death.
What? Math. Science, physics, Darwinism, and in that order.
People have only died on the planet that has birds on it. Just saying.
People have only
That's
died with
perfect
literally
logic.
everything that's on this planet except water. Yeah, I just poked a big old hole in your theory there, bud.
No, it's one of those what is it? The correlation is not always causation style arguments, but it's just this funny chart. It's like planets in the solar system. And it's like, yeah, planets in the solar system, number of deaths per planet, and then the next one is has birds, yes or no. It's like clearly we found the problem.
So you take Schrodinger's pigeon and Schrodinger's planet and you put them in a box together.
Yeah, perfect.
Oh my god. I'm
Out
gonna
of
move on to
curiosity,
my third
this
beer.
is our back onto the podcast topics here. This is our first time ever doing a stream on Twitch while podcasting. Do we actually have people listening to us like right now in this moment?
There are a few people following us on Twitch right now. I will give
Hi, guys.
shout outs to them real quick. My buddy Stone Dog Entertainment and my buddy Critical Thought from a Discord channel. Go follow both of their Twitch streams. We're trying something new this week, and maybe this season and going forward with doing live streams. But all of these episodes will be available as per usual the week following when we record. So if you're watching live with us right now, thank you for joining us. Otherwise, if you're listening to this when it's released, thank you for getting down with us on another Spotify or Anchor or Apple Podcast or wherever you listen to us.
Well, I'm also curious. Wait, can we like communicate with them? Like, can they type to you?
Yes, I do have a chat open, so if anyone would like to have,
So, you two that are currently watching us live,
I am one
do
of
you
them.
have any? What?
What? Nothing.
You're one of them.
No.
Okay, so homies watching us live. Do you have a adjunct beer that you quite enjoy? Go ahead and type that to Thomas and Thomas.
And
if
I
they
will
type that,
relay
let us know.
aforementioned
Yeah.
question to you.
Yeah.
I think
I don't have access to the Twitch stream because I don't have fucking Twitch. But
I think a few of them are just lurking right now to give us some followers because
Cool.
we're so new to this, and I appreciate you guys doing that.
much appreciated.
And it's a Twitch thing. They're not lurking in a creepy way. They're lurking to get us followers and to perpetuate the future of this channel. So thank you.
I dig that. I dig
for
that.
doing that.
Mad props. Yeah.
In the interim, though, I have moved on to my third beer, which CJ, you pointed out the Founders beer that you were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
This is, I believe, a version of that. It's called Panther Club,
Ooh.
and it's
Ooh.
a porter with vanilla extract and maple syrup aged in bourbon barrels.
Okay.
I'm into it.
What's that label look like? Can you flash that label up to the camera though?
Further to yeah, there we go.
There it is.
Oh, I've seen that on shelves before.
So I want to think this is like their joke on Sex Panther from Anchorman.
I would like to hope so.
It is a 12-ounce bottle. Man, I can't imagine how much they pay for these like custom embroidered bottles that just get not even recycled in this fucking state because we suck.
That's why you pay $14 a bottle for it.
Holy shit. 9.2% alcohol by volume, a 2021 release, bottled on February the 5th of 2021.
Which, by the way, this was canned on 4/9/21, so this was only canned
That's
Like-
fresh as shit.
11 days ago.
We have talked about how the freshness of beers takes a while to get here, which is
Sorry,
why
13 days ago. I did my math wrong.
this beer is 2.5 months old, getting to us.
Yeah, it's about right.
You just happen to live in one of those states, man.
I'm blessed.
Yep.
Our skiing's still open. We got great access to beer. It's sunny instead of rainy in the spring.
Mr. Fancy over here.
We still have to wear masks.
Oof. Ouch, man.
We don't have
Low blow,
the
dude.
live concerts
Low blow.
right now.
Low blow.
I'm super jealous of the concerts thing though. One of my fucking best friends, well, not best, like a really good homie of mine, Ben Jarrell, is playing at the Remington
This weekend.
on Friday and Saturday, and I'm fucking jealous because I have been wanting to see him live forever.
And I
he's-
will go and say hello to him for you.
I think he ought to. And then actually he's coming through Bend the next day after that, when I'm probably going to be dealing with my reaction to the second shot of the COVID vaccine. So that's fun.
Dude, hydrate up, eat your vitamin C.
Hydrate or dihydrate.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. But so hey, by the way, anyone listening in Whitefish, you should definitely go to the Remington on the 25th or 24th and watch Ben Jarrell play awesome
Unfortunately,
music.
by the time this comes out, the shows will be past.
You should go back in time and go watch this concert.
If you could go find yourself an Emmett Brown,
Yep.
and I'm not talking about a brown ale, uh, go find yourself Doc Brown and get yourself a DeLorean, travel back
You
in
should go to
time
that show.
to 425, 2021.
424.
424. Well, he's playing 2 days in a row, isn't he?
I think he's doing 23 and 24.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to go up tomorrow night anyway to meet with my buddy Tristan, who does the Star Wars podcast, also on this Twitch channel with me on Mondays. So if you want to hear me bullshit about Star Wars, tune in Mondays.
Hell yeah.
Sorry to cross promote. This
How dare you? I just cross promoted a fucking outlaw country band.
That's fair. That's fair. I tell you what though, this Panther Club smells also
Yeah, how's your panther? How's your Sex Panther? I mean Panther Club.
60% of the time, it smells good every time. It smells really good. It smells fucking delicious. Yeah. That's definitely a little bit more clawing than the dogfish head that I had earlier. But it's good. It's damn good. I drink the shit out of this in wintertime. If it wasn't May, almost May.
Yeah. That was the thing. A lot of these beers are really good for winter. There's
I mean,
a lot less good adjunct beers for summertime.
Oh yeah, toasty, roasty, vanilla. I do get a little bit of the maple syrup. You definitely like a nice thin profile for the bourbon barrel age, because sometimes I know bourbon barrel aged beers can be like very barrel forward and kind of squash a
Yeah.
lot of the other flavors. No, this is great balance. This is great balance. I would definitely drink the
Nice.
shit out of this again on a bearskin rug in front of a fucking fireplace.
It's a good place to drink a beer.
It is a good place.
Although, generally, I will say, if I'm drinking on a bearskin rug in front of a fireplace, I generally prefer bourbon. So that being a bourbon barrel aged beer, I think is appropriate.
Yeah, I would definitely also agree with that. I would probably also be drinking bourbon.
Does that one still have a lot of that kind of sweet, sugary residue aftertaste?
Yes, very much so. It's almost stickier than a dogfish head.
Damn.
Yeah, my yeah, it's definitely
Yep.
like mouth flappy.
Speaking of sticky beers, CJ, how you doing?
Yeah, you've been quiet for a while there, bud.
Well, I had to finish that fucking 12% coconut cake stout. That was a lot. That was a lot.
I'm
I'm, uh,
sure.
I'm getting ready for another adjunct beer that is just something that I've picked a bone with over this last year. I've got some Voodoo Ranger from New Belgium.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah.
That whole voodoo series has been quite intriguing to me.
It's been up and down. It's been up and down,
It's
and
been a thing.
I've taken my fair share of stabs at it. So I figured tonight I would pour some in a glass after a fucking coconut cake and beer stout,
All right, well, talk
After
to us,
fucking
Goose.
up your taste buds.
and just see what happens. So.
Talk to us, Goose. What do you?
Well,
What do you got?
I've been prepping. There was just a whirlwind of flavor and alcohol, and just so much chew that I'm still coming
Still
out
getting
of it.
ready. You got like a nice Rainier or something to wash that palate with, like.
That's why I keep a Sierra Nevada nearby.
I have some North Coast Brother Thelonious Abbey ales to wash my palate with, which
Hey, there you go.
interesting choice.
Now,
Ooh, Jesus,
I
Smell
know
it.
you guys
Pouring
and the
it,
beer
okay.
community may jump on me for this, but I've actually been using Bush Light for a palate cleanser recently.
Go fuck yourself and die.
Hey, it's better than Budweiser. It's better than PBR.
Disagree
Also disagree
with the PBR one. Equal to the Bud. I
don't
mean,
know, man.
we did our cheap beer blind taste test, and you know we all kind of had different opinions, but I there was legitimately a difference in a lot of those little beers.
Oh yeah,
the fact that I
when we did
pulled
our
Montucky
crappy
Cold
American,
Snacks.
I should have gotten Bush Light for the crappy American lager.
But you know what? I Bush Light's not one that I'm reaching for on the shelf, but I can honestly say I've drank a lot of Bush Light up on the mountain because it's been in a friend's cooler. So
I tell
Sure.
you, it's super easy to drink, and before you know it, you're 3 deep, and it's only 4.5%, and all you have to do is
I
pee.
still, I'll still reach for Rainier first every time. But
I mean, I'll go Miller High Life, but I'm going to visit one of my buddies in California next month, and all he drinks is Bush Light. So I gotta
you're
prepare.
prepping, heard.
I'm prepping like my.
You're acclimating
I'm
yourself. Yeah.
psychologically and
Well,
physically.
the nice
prepping
thing is when you
myself.
go down to California, you're going down in elevation too, so you're gonna fucking drink those assholes under the table.
God, I hope not. But I did tell him that if I died, to just throw my body in throw my body in the Pacific Ocean.
Okay, you realize how impractical that is, right? They walk out on the beach, they toss you into the waves, and the waves push you back on shore.
They have to get me out past the rip current. Actually, they have
Well,
to
so
get me.
now they need to get a boat, right? Like you're telling them to go rent
Oh
a
my
boat
God!
just to go dump
It's
you in the
in
ocean.
my fucking life insurance policy. Take a
That's a
boat.
hefty will, bro.
I don't ask for much. Let the fish eat me.
Just give me a fucking Viking funeral. Put me on a Viking longboat, push me out into the ocean, shoot me the flaming arrows. That's so much to ask
Is
for.
it really that hard? Is it really that difficult? God.
CJ, how's that beer?
Um,
Now, which Voodoo Ranger is this?
this is the Juicy Haze IPA series, which is
Read us the description on that bad boy.
well, from my understanding, it's made with their Hefeweizen yeast, so it's made with their Germanic yeast that the New Belgium uses, and it's got spices to it. So I'm going to go ahead and assume coriander and orange peel, and then the hops are Cascade, Chinook, Simcoe. It's you know what? Honestly, I've talked a lot of shit about this brand, about New Belgium being the hazy IPA brand recently, and the Voodoo Ranger brand has not impressed me. It's probably my favorite one. Right off the
Okay.
cuff, it's probably my favorite one.
It just sounds like a lot. on-
It's kind of it's got a pretty burly flavor profile, but it's a pretty damn good white IPA,
Okay.
and I haven't seen too many of those out around right now.
I would just imagine that Hefeweizen strain is thoroughly stressed out from all of that stuff.
The yeast presence is medium to high, but it's not distracting from the hop profile.
Okay.
So that's pretty amazing.
So a little isoamyl acetate for banana and stuff.
I get some banana. I definitely get some clove, but then I also get this kind of cascading feeling of grapefruit and pine, which is pretty fun. And no, again,
Okay.
this is a weird. I'm fully admitting I've talked a lot of shit on this brand and a lot of shit on this concept of what I thought to be one of the better Belgian breweries in terms of modern American packaging, coming into the hazy brand and just trying to really. We can make a hazy IPA too. It's pretty easy. You know, they didn't do well, in my opinion. They didn't do well for a long time. This is kind of tasty. I actually wish this beer was a percent less alcohol. I wish it was 6.5,
It's,
and then I could
glass.
crush this shit.
so it's big too.
It feels a little heavy, but the only heaviness comes from the alcohol. It doesn't come from the yeast. You know, it's just I wish this beer was a little lighter in terms of alcohol, and I'd rip it apart. It's kind of fun. It's kind of a fun beer.
Clack.
Josh, are you doing something over there?
I'm drinking more beer.
More beer.
More of the same beer.
More of the same beer. I'm so excited.
Is this a little warmer? Is this a little bit warmer? Or a little
no,
bit
this
colder?
one's colder.
Colder.
Okay.
So I am excited to see if the temperature makes a difference.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So now over time, since is this your second or third?
Second.
Okay, I'll be curious to ask you about how you feel about this one as soon as I go pee.
Also, I would just like to point out, I'm pretty sure it's the beer, not me.
Wow. Yeah,
Wow.
that's a lot of head retention there.
But
that's
it's
actually that's a lot
the
of
head-
CO2 outside of solution.
The head stays up, but the head goes up when you pour it, but it dies down relatively fast.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's not very. It doesn't have a good retention. It just is foamy to pour. This is one of those ones that you would have a lot of waste spill just from fucking foaming over when you're trying to pour it in a pint glass off tap. Like, and you don't know why, and you try to depressurize the keg, and it still just pours foamy. I hate beers like that. They're the bane of my existence.
Beers that light in terms of what's left behind. Like, I mean, if they calculated their sugars with that fructose that's being added with the fruit and things like that, those beers don't leave a lot for CO2 to rest upon. So when you're pouring them, they're always going to be aggressive. They're always going to be tough to pour. I have a similar problem even with just sour beers and just things that naturally have removed all their protein from them.
If this was labeled as a sour beer, I think I would have liked it more.
Interesting.
Just because you have that perception going into something, like when you hear what you're expecting something to be, you come in with an expectation. When the second you said sour, this honestly tastes a lot more like a sour than it does like a IPA or something like that. And maybe that's when they call it an ale, maybe they were going for more of a sour ale. And if that's the case, it makes a lot more sense flavor-wise.
Okay.
Which to me, in my head, that's just not what I thought it was.
Intriguing.
Right.
But yeah, drinking it like going in with the assumption of like, yeah, this is going to be like a pale ale IPA type thing, I was disappointed. But if I had gone in with the thought in my head of like, yeah, I'm drinking a sour ale, it would make a lot more sense with the flavors.
Good grief.
Interesting.
Panther Club will fucking wreck you.
It's interesting how our preconceived notions of what we're expecting affect our experience.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
But I do think it's kind of funny that, I kind of came up with the topic for this episode knowing you guys aren't huge fans of the adjunct style. And you both found beers that you've been thoroughly enjoying, and then I picked this beer that I'm sitting here like, man, why did I do this?
Because this was your idea, and that's how karma works. Ouch. Just whack my hand on my desk. Oh, all right. So on to my fourth and final beer for the evening. I don't know why I bought four.
Better
but I
colder.
did. Better
I'll give it that. Pour it at a colder temperature, it tastes better. And thinking of it as a sour, some of that back end flavor and texture I was getting fits a lot better with the sour profile than it does the pale ale profile.
Water.
Still probably not buying another pack of them, but I've improved my experience by changing my mindset.
And on to my fourth
Dom,
and final beer for the
what's your
evening.
fourth?
The Breakside Chocolate Grasshopper Milk Stout.
Yikes.
I've had that one.
Milk stout brewed with cacao and nutmeg, aged in bourbon barrels and conditioned on Palo Santo wood. You know, that stuff that you burn to get bad juju out of your house?
My house only has good juju, so
I'm just saying. That's what
no
Palo
bad
Santo
juju
was.
allowed. It's actually on the door next to no solicitors unless you're selling Girl Scout cookies sign. Yeah, no bad juju and no solicitors unless you're selling Girl Scout cookies.
Well, it's like the studio I used to walk into that said, "Leave your ego at the door."
I'm not allowed in that studio. Bad shit comes with me.
Actually, it was preceded by "Beware of Attack Musician."
Beware of angry drummer.
Yeah. I'm curious about. I'm curious. I've never seen a beer put on Palo Santo. All I've ever done is burn Palo Santo to make my room not smell like a gym locker when girls come over.
It's a good cause.
How's
have you gotten a sip of that beer in yet?
Not yet. But this is now the third dark beer that I've had today, and again, head retention not so good on all three.
Generally, I feel like dark beers have a harder time with a head retention. Like
especially
a lot of the ones that we get on
that
tap in the
crammed into
wintertime,
these things.
Even if it's just a standard dark beer, a lot of the ones that we put on tap at J-Dub generally
good.
don't hold their head quite as well.
Smells good. I just
So it was chocolate milk stout aged in bourbon barrels.
on Palo Santo wood. Actually, that is fucking delightful. Jesus Christ. Holy fuck. I'll get you the description again real quick. Yeah, milk stout brewed with cacao and nutmeg, aged in. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't read. Aged in brandy barrels and conditioned on Palo Santo wood.
Interesting.
Mm.
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 All right, we sound like a bunch of old men trying to pass kidney stones.
Well, that's what we're gonna be someday, the way that we drink.
You're damn right. Yep, you're going to be able to play hockey with my liver. That's not something you should ever aspire to do, though.
That's not something you should be bragging about there, bud.
No, and I'm only 37. Oh, God, I'm 38. Fuck me.
No thanks.
You're not really my type. Honestly, this.
What, you don't go for Yetis?
No, my type's a little less hairy.
Oh, understandable.
I'm not like the type to like twirl my finger through your chest hairs. Yeah. Moving on. Moving on. Yeah, this is actually quite delightful.
Talk to us about beer, Thomas.
I think the aged on brandy barrels definitely gives it like a nice bright sweetness. You can definitely taste the cacao and nutmeg, and the Palo Santo on it lends like this nice smoky woody flavor to it. It's very well balanced. It's very well
Fuck yeah.
balanced. But I mean, it's Breakside, so I'm not surprised.
Not surprised.
I'm not surprised.
That was honestly Breakside when we took our trip to Portland shortly before COVID happened in 2020. Breakside was one of my favorite breweries we went to, for sure.
In no particular order, Breakside, Culmination, and Wayfinder.
You guys, yeah. Yep. What were the other breweries you went to after I left?
You know, I was thinking about that earlier today.
I was just trying to remember. Like,
I honestly don't remember because there must have not been something that stood out to me in that respect.
well, and by the time I pieced out, we were all drunk and hungover anyways, so.
Oh my god! Well, that local bar within like walking distance of our Airbnb the first night or the first 2 nights.
Yeah.
I can't believe you guys let me sleep on the couch. God, my neck hurt for like the next 3
We
days
did?
after that. Yeah, I fell asleep like my
Thomas,
head
I don't
over the arm
remember
of
the
chair.
whole sleeping parts of things, because, like,
Well,
I was not remembering shit by that time in the night.
I mean, you also went and bought that bar of fudge that literally put us out for fucking 16 hours.
Dude, the fucking infomercial session late at night. Kylie just walks in like, what the fuck are you guys doing? And we've been sitting here on the couch for like 3 hours watching infomercials, just laughing our asses off.
So when Josh and I first got to Portland, it was before the third member of our party at the time had joined us. We went to a local cannabis shop, and Josh picked up this bar of fudge, which was no larger than your typical, like, you know, maybe about yay big.
It's just
Give
a
or
little
take.
square of fudge, and we each just took like a nibble off this
I think we
bitch.
each just took like a little tiny corner nibble.
Yeah.
And we all woke up the next day like, I think I'm still fucking stoned, bro. Like, and we were up all night long. We slept for like 9 to 10 hours. I don't think we got up until at least noon or 1 o'clock the next day. And then we decided to like continue to go drinking. Oh no, it was at the hotel. That's right. It was at the hotel.
No, that was the Airbnb.
Was
The
it the
first 2 nights were the
Airbnb?
Airbnb, and then we did the hotel the third night.
Oh, right.
The third and fourth, yeah. No, but that was we went to Great Notion from there.
Unimpressed. I was not impressed by Great Notion.
They were okay. I mean, I don't have anything bad to say about them. It wasn't like I know the third member of our party was excited as fuck about Great Notion, and I was a little underwhelmed.
Talk about an adjunct heavy beer brewery.
Well, I was actually talking with a bartender before I came home for this episode. She actually used to work at Great Notion. Um,
Oh, and the other one was Modern Times.
yeah, I was gonna say her and I were talking Great Notion and Modern Times. Modern Times was the one I had in my mind when I thought about this episode.
I mean, cool brewery as far as aesthetics go. Again,
And it fits the modern the modern young beer drinker.
yeah, yeah, like
But well, and so that was one thing I was going to bring up about tonight, talking about adjunct heavy beers. As much as we like to joke about them and flick them shit, and they can be good sometimes if they're done well. I do think they've played a very kind of important role in maintaining our industry that we all reside in, just in terms of
I agree with that.
as much as we might not want to drink them, there's a lot of people out there that don't want to drink the super traditional beers and that wouldn't be drinking as much beer if that's all that was available.
Oh,
And so for the industry to keep
100% agree.
making money, that if there's breweries making beers like that, that keeps money in the industry, and that lets us keep doing what we love to do behind the scenes and
Can't be mad at
keep
'em.
making the beers that we love. This is Mount Bachelor selling the day tickets to the tourists so that I can buy a season's pass every year and ski every fucking day of the week without the mountain shutting down, right?
100%, 100%.
So it's a necessary evil almost in the world of craft beer.
CJ Tag, you're in, bud.
It's definitely there's definitely a niche that's covered by people working on these kind of beers that kind of bring inclusiveness to the beverage industry, right? But we all know how I'm gonna immediately revert to that. There's a negative aspect to it too. We kind of teach people to appreciate something for what it's not,
Yeah.
right? So there is. I drink adjunct beers all the time, and there's some great ones. There's some fucking great ones, But I also, every time I drink an adjunct beer, every time I make an adjunct beer, I remind myself that there are beers that don't need this shit, to do it right. And so it's a double-edged sword. I think
Yeah.
the kiss of our industry is to bridge the gap, to find ways to bring people into the fold, but also to find ways to say, hey, that fold is just one dimension of what we're doing.
Right.
And I don't know.
Well, I think that's kind of Von Ebert and Ecliptic. They both make ridiculously good traditional beers. But so for them to have an adjunct style beer
Right.
out there to bring people in, people can drink this and then want to go check out Ecliptic and taste more of what they do.
Von Ebert is one of the best German breweries right now in the
Yeah.
country, and that's provable. Ecliptic, run by John Harris, he's one of the most iconic brewers in the country right now. So they can have these swings that are not, to the 400 mark, but still be saying, we're trying to push the industry forward. I think it's really important to look at the techniques we've always known exist and these new ideas and try and find middle ground. I don't think it's necessarily special for brewers to just jump into the whole like, yeah, if I buy marshmallow extract and fucking orange extract, then I can make a dreamsicle bar. I would rather you not do that. I would rather
Yeah.
you push yourself forward in terms of the organic ingredients you have and the techniques you have to find something
And then
new.
once you've really established that, then yeah, maybe do some weird things later. But if you're first starting out, make beer and
Right.
see how what you're using affects it. Like we were telling Fred, and like he went and did, he made his s'more beer with just traditional beer ingredients, which is amazing. And yeah, maybe down the road he can be like, well, maybe I want more chocolate in that, so then I can add a couple cocoa nibs. But to really understand how the basic ingredients can affect that flavor is a hugely valuable skill set.
Right.
Yeah, I without the guys that do all these, adjunct heavy and gimmicky beers, that we wouldn't be able to do the things that we like to do, CJ, because then we would have to be making these gimmicky beers to the uh
Keep the people attracted.
keep the people attracted. So the fact that like breweries like Great Notion or Modern Times, even Founders and Breakside that do all of these interesting one-off adjunct heavy beers, um, we wouldn't be able to do the things of like making a constantly evolving wheat beer or Hefeweizen,
Yeah.
or we wouldn't be able to do things like pilsners and amber lagers and
Or,
traditional
like,
lagers and things like that, because we'd have to spend so much time trying to figure out what the next craze or cliche is going to be, that we would be so worried about what that is that we wouldn't have the time to focus on the things that we're good at.
yeah. Well, and you get someone, maybe who lives in Portland who got exposed to beer through Modern Times and who fell in love with these super juicy, weird IPAs that they make, but then they consider themselves a beer drinker now when they previously didn't. But let's say they hop on the train out to the Flathead Valley from Portland and end up walking into Backslope in Columbia Falls. They're not going to walk the fuck back out because you don't have those same crazy adjunct heavy beers, because now they're a beer drinker. So they're going to try your beers and maybe they find something new that they love. But it's a great place to start and be more approachable to the people that traditionally don't like, a fat, heavy IPA.
Right. As long as those people are educated that this is one style of beer, right? This is an individual style of
Exactly.
beer. That
There's definitely an important education aspect there.
right. And I think one of the most important things you made poignant metaphorically is that you can walk 100 miles in any direction, and you can find different kinds of beer, right? Like that is just what the industry demands.
Yeah.
Is much like any other kind of creative aspect, is that the farther you go away from your center, the more diverse things you're going to find. We shouldn't be the biggest thing, and I was kind of excited when we did this episode, to share with people, is that don't go to a new area and pigeonhole them into trying to describe why you can't find the beers that you like, right? Like, they're making the beers they make.
Yeah.
It's your job to kind of find a puzzle piece that you fit into.
Well, it's like, to bring it to a more, I think, maybe relatable thing. It's like someone who goes out to Hawaii on vacation and has some super fancy tiki cocktail that they absolutely love, that, you know, they come back home to their local bar in fucking Nebraska and they're like, "Yeah, I have this blue tiki drink in Hawaii. Can you make that?"
It's like, what?
It's
What are you
like,
talking about?
no. That fucking that's firstly the most vague description ever for a drink. Secondly, like, you can't expect the same thing in every place you go, and that's a very important thing to keep in mind. Like, there's going to be differences everywhere. You can't expect a bar in Oregon to be making shit that you'd be getting on a beach in Hawaii. You can't. But similarly, you can't expect to get what you find here in Hawaii. You can't expect a Hawaiian brewing company to make the same beers as you do a Montana brewing company. Um,
or
or Portland to
or a
Montana, because
Portland
Portland
or
is
a North Carolina
uh,
brewery or a Florida
Los
Texas
Angeles,
brewery.
right? Like,
Like, yeah,
it's going to be different everywhere, but I think these are a really cool style of beer and style of brewing company to continue craft beer being something that's sustainable and profitable going forward, so we can keep having the beer that we love.
100%. Just
Really, selfishly speaking, I just want breweries to keep making dope ass beer for me. But
and that isn't just pigeonholed to one
yeah,
particular brewery. Like, if you want, if when you go out and you're looking for a certain thing to drink for that night, what breweries you can go to, being in Bend, Oregon. Or if you go out the next night and you want something different from the night before, you know where
oh
you
yeah,
can go.
there's certain breweries that I very specifically go to based on what kind of beer I feel like drinking. Um, That there's if I want more of a traditional style ale, or like more American traditional ale, Boneyard Brewing, Bridge 99. Those are my two go-tos for sure. If I want something a little bit funky, a little bit different, guarantee I'm gonna go check out maybe Crux that night. There's now a new spot in downtown Bend. It's a brewery out of Redmond that just opened up their place called The Cellar. They do only cask ales, only like true traditional English cask ales. Um,
That's pretty
it's
pigeonholy.
they have 6 cask pulls on tap. They don't have a single regular tap even in the fucking whole place. Um, and so I know if I want that, I can go there. But I go to different places based on
What it is you're
what
looking for.
mood and what kind of beer I'm looking for. If I
Yeah.
want more of a gimmicky style beer, I'll go to Silver Moon for sure. And there's plenty of days that I'm like, fuck, I just need something juicy and weird and different.
Well,
I'm
that's
gonna go
like
see what Silver Moon has on tap.
even here with the limited amount of breweries that I and me and CJ have access to. Like I know if I want some broad spectrum like ales, I'll go to Sacred Waters. If I want
Yep.
something a little bit more traditional style, I'll go to KBC. If I want to try the latest crazy concoction that CJ's coming up with, I'm gonna go to Backslope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I for as again, we for as small of a brew community as there is out here because there's only a half a dozen breweries, like I know based on what I want to drink where I'm gonna go. Or if I just want to have a fucking Sierra Nevada, I'm just gonna drive up to Whitefish and go to the Remington and hang out for the night. You
True
know?
fact, dude. I want to be at the Rem this weekend so
God, I
bad.
have to pee again. All this big beer. God damn it. Son of a ah!
So CJ, here's a question for you as a professional brewer. I know you tend to make the occasional adjunct into your beers, and you do some more herbal beers and stuff, and you definitely use adjuncts in your brewing. But if you were like, if someone tasked you with making a true adjunct heavy beer, be it a like super dessert porter style thing, or if you were trying to make a super like fruity summer beer, like if you were tasked with making an adjunct beer, what kind of beer you think you would go for?
Um, that's a good question.
I know, yeah, fucking pop quiz, some bitch.
I like working a lot with chilies, and I haven't quite figured out a way that I can work with them
Ooh,
that is different than other people. So I would definitely probably look into that a little bit.
speaking from like a more bartending mixology style standpoint, I don't feel like I see this a lot in the brewery world, but I feel like something that would work pretty well. Like I do a lot of spicy margaritas,
hmm
actually,
hmm
right? But I feel like if someone's putting a spice into a beer, they're usually going for the darker beer. But I'd be really curious to
Right.
try like a more pepper or
Yeah.
jalapeno based pilsner or something.
Light spice beers be fun. There's the there's always the question of how you get the adjunct into the beer, and
Yeah,
when we get into projects where like I want to work with outside flavors, it really comes down to do we trust ourselves to make the right decision, and
I trust you.
when it comes to peppers and things like that, especially, it's just like we'll take the dive when we feel like it's right, and we'll go for it.
Yeah, I
We'll see
feel
what
that.
happens.
Thomas, I'm gonna throw the same question at you real quick that I just did CJ.
What you got?
Just as a brewer, if someone tasks you tomorrow with, hey, make a fucking hardcore adjunct beer, um, and I'm talking any range. Like you can go with a adjunct fucking pilsner, like we were just talking about adding like jalapenos in a pilsner or whatever, or like peppers in a pilsner, all the way down to like those super desserty stouts, which I know you have made, some coffee, and cocoa stouts and stuff before. Um, what would be your next real like hardcore adjunct, or like a super fruity IPA or something? Like what would be the next like adjunct beer that you feel like you'd want to try to make?
There is one beer that I've had written up for a while, and as soon as I can figure out the proper way to do it, I want to make a pickled lime peel habanero pilsner.
I want you to make that, and I want to drink half the keg.
A pickled lime peel habanero what?
Pilsner.
Lager. Right?
Lager, right?
That's what I.
Talked
That's what I
about,
heard.
we've talked about
That's
this,
what I
right?
heard you say. Right?
Pilsners,
Yeah.
pilsners, right? Lager, right?
I
God
want
damn it!
that.
Yeah. So
I want that.
my plan is to
I want to drink that on a river on an inner tube at like 9 in the morning in the sunshine when it's a 90-degree summer day. And then I want to fucking float down drinking that. And I want to get on the shuttle, ride back to the top of the river, and do that all fucking day long.
what? God damn it! All right. Sometime this summer, as soon as I can get my setup back in working order again, what I'd like to do is uh, take some habanero, uh, grill the skins, and oven roast it. Try and sweat out some of the capsaicin, so it's more of the flavor of the habanero
Yeah.
and not so much the heat. And from there, I want to take. I want to pickle lime peels because supposedly when you pickle lime peels, they turn into like rock candy, like
They do.
sweet,
They're
like
fucking good.
sweet rock candy type deals. And I will more than likely follow the traditional styles for lagers. Probably use some noble hops, a nice good clean uh, grain bill, and use the habanero meat and the pickled lime peels as a either at biotransform or as a dry hop, and just kind of let that stuff work through, and hope that when I throw CO2 on it, that the oils from the pepper don't give me carbonation problems, because I know that certain soluble fats and oils can lead to carbonation problems in the future.
Fair.
That's my plan. I've had that beer planned for 3 years, and I still haven't gotten around to making it yet because I haven't quite figured out uh, what the proper process for doing all of those things in the correct order are. One of our friends here, Zero Cheesy on uh, Twitch, just asked us, how long ago did we discover our passion for craft beer?
Um, I'll hop in first.
Peaches?
Firstly, thank you for the question, and thank you for interacting with us. That's awesome. It's still weird to me that we can do this in the 21st century, but
Welcome to the internet.
I grew up in Bend, Oregon, which is a fucking hub for craft beer. Obviously, Deschutes Brewery, Cascade Lakes were two of the first ones out here doing it for a long time, and my dad. Used to work at Deschutes for a really short period of time before he opened his own restaurant, but he was also a huge home brewer. And I remember as a kid, he'd be brewing his beers at home, and me and my brother would even help him in the bottling process. We'd be putting the caps on with the capper and everything, and I just loved that. And I was always, I was raised around craft beer, and anytime we go on a family vacation, we'd be going to the local breweries and stuff just so my dad could check it out. And for birthdays and stuff, we'd be doing all that type of shit. So, the second I was old enough to really start appreciating and being allowed to drink beer, I actually really I had a hard time drinking beer at first because my body used to have a super strong natural reaction to bitter. Um, I enjoyed the flavors, but it would always just really fuck with me. But I just pushed through it and kept drinking beer until I didn't have that reaction anymore. I was in college going to parties, and I'd be bringing myself, a fucking 6 pack of a fucking nice locally crafted IPA and hiding it in the corner so everyone else is drinking fucking PBR and I'm drinking like these fancy ass craft beers and stuff. That was just always what I was doing. So it was kind of ingrained in me through family and through where I was raised. It's just I've lived in a great place, worked at brew pubs since I was in high school. I was a busser at 10 Barrel back before they got sold out to AB and they only had one location. And craft beer was just kind of in the blood.
CJ.
It's- Josh has such a good story every time he talks about it. It's so fucking good.
I know. That's why I was like, wait, make CJ go first. 'Cause I gotta think of something good.
I've been in restaurants and have been involved in craft product, whether it be food or beverage, since I was 18 years old, and I'm coming up on 50% of my life there, doing that kind of thing, and it became a big thing when I started home brewing, and it was just this idea that you could manipulate flavor so freely. You know, brewing was the first industry I jumped into that I had to realize that you taper down your restrictions eventually the more you learn about it. Now, like when you cook, the more that you learn, the more you just free yourself from boundaries. With brewing, the more you learn, the more you start to actually place boundaries upon yourself and place this very kind of sacred rhythm upon yourself to get things done. So I got into it in a garage. You know, I got into it just as a means to find new flavor, and I stuck with it because seemingly I was gonna get ahead faster there than I was gonna be being a cook. But you know, what really garnered me to brewing was just this idea that it was kind of the last bastion of flavor where you could tell people what you were expecting to do. You know, when people come into a steakhouse and they say medium rare with fries, they already have an expectation of what they're going to get. You know, and if you don't meet it, you're done. But when they walk into your brewery, you get to explain to them what a Vienna lager is. You get to explain to them what a true East Coast IPA is. So beer for me was always this kind of this Alamo, this last bastion of flavor, where it's like, you know what, meet me on my own ground, and I'll talk to you about what I believe things should taste like. Yeah, and that's how I got into it. It was this place I could just sit there and say, this is what it's supposed to be.
I love that.
And fuck off if you disagree with me, you know. And maybe that's why I don't run my own business. Right there is that mentality, but no.
Well, hey, honestly, that's my boss's mentality, and he's got one of the most successful bars in downtown Bend. So,
my feeling with beer has always been, if you want to taste the flavor that I'm working on, come on into the brewery, and I'll fucking walk you through everything we're doing. But I'm never going to apologize if you don't like something. If you don't like it, that's cool. Like you just don't like it. That's all right. That's
you don't
fine.
have to.
Yeah, you don't have
But
to.
that's
like
fine.
It. This is what I'm making, and beer was the first medium for me where I felt comfortable saying that. You know, oh man, someone doesn't like my medium rare cook on a burger. Well, gosh, I got to fucking apologize.
I got to do it again.
I got to fucking do it. With beer, it's like, nope. This is exactly what I intended to make. And if you don't like it, that's cool. But I'm not going to fix it for you at the table. Like
I'm not here for your approval.
This is the beer that I made. This is my expression. It's the first creative and flavor based art form where I felt very confident in saying, yeah, I'm gonna do it my way.
Love that.
So that's how I got into it. Was just. Yeah. This kind of black hole, this event horizon discovery of like.
Then you just got sucked in, and now you can't fucking leave.
Now I'm just gonna do this. Now
Going through that
you're
whole
trapped.
spaghettification process as you're getting pulled through aforementioned black hole across the event horizon.
Right.
You know,
it is a constant. You know, there are days I go home and I'm like, part of me is like, fuck that guy for saying he didn't like it. And the second thing is like, all right, like I didn't like it. So what do I do now? You know, and
I feel that, dude.
These ideas like battle each other every day.
Gee, I feel that. People come into the bar and they like order a specific cocktail, like, you know, a more fancy high end cocktail. I'm like, yeah, I can fucking make that really good for you. They're like, all right, let's try it. And they're like, it's okay. I've had better. And then I spend the rest of the time like, oh fuck it, what did I mess up? Like, what if they had better? How do I make mine better than that? Like,
Right, right.
Well, in that
But at the end of the day, you make them what you make, and that's
It's
that's how you do it.
It's such a reluctant procedure to go ahead and keep pushing yourself to do more things. And
Oh, yeah.
at the same time, it's like, well, I got to be different than the next guy, so we just got to keep working.
Yep.
I think you have something on your mind you wanted to share.
I
Yeah,
do.
Thomas.
I want to ask Josh a quick question, and then I will get to my story. So
43.
Yeah, I mean, I know that's the answer.
What's up?
God damn, that's a good movie. Don't forget your towel.
No, 42 is the meaning of life. 43 is the answer to whatever you were about to ask my ass.
Wait, I thought 43 was the answer to the meaning
No,
of life.
42.
42?
How many roads must a man travel? 42. 42 is also coincidentally, if you put the word for 4 and the word for 2 in Japanese together, and you put that into one word, it also means death. 42 is also in binary code the symbol for asterisk, which asterisk in coding languages means basically it's just like a open variable. It means whatever you want it to mean. So the meaning of life is whatever it means to you.
So 42 is the proper answer.
42 is the meaning of life. 43 is just a random number that I spit out to you to answer
So
your question.
is that like Tool's version of 46 and 2?
Sure.
Because 46 and 1 with the extra chromosome doesn't exactly lend well, but if you have 46 and 2 extra chromosomes. Anyway, so my question, and this is a bit of feedback here from Zero Cheesy again from Twitch. He says that a really good cocktail or a really good beer can beat any cocktail in his mind. Now, as a bartender, being that you serve beer and make cocktails, do you agree, disagree, or do you find that there's a complexity in differences between the two?
Well, I mean, it's a vastly different world, and it really just boils down to who you're serving that night, right? Like, for some people who are hardcore beer aficionados, but they don't like hard liquor, obviously a beer is going to beat out a whiskey cocktail or a vodka cocktail any night of the week. There's some people who have allergies to things in beers, and so they can't drink beer, but they want to go out and have a drink. So obviously a vodka cocktail is going to be a really great answer for them. There's some people that like a little bit of everything, and sometimes it just kind of depends on what you want that day. Like for me, I love beer and I love cocktails. And there's certain times, certain days where I just want to be sipping on beer all afternoon, but there's other days where fuck that, give me a vodka soda on a patio and I'm going to be a happy man and way happier than I would be with a beer.
100%.
So I don't think there's like one end all solution. But I also think if you say a beer will beat a cocktail any day of the week, you need to find yourself some better bartenders. Because sometimes you get a damn good old fashioned on the right day when you're in the right
I love
mood,
a good
and
old fashioned.
that's gonna beat out whatever beer you're about to taste. If it's like that day and you're celebrating your best friend just getting engaged, and it's not the bachelor party yet, but you just wanted to go out the night that she said yes and treat him to a cocktail, god damn, you better be buying a fucking old fashioned instead of a beer. And if you can't find a bartender that makes you an old fashioned that you like, well, that's just a fucking problem.
That's just a goddamn problem.
Then you better come down to J-Dub and see me instead.
Yeah, right. You're absolutely right. I've gone back to this this pina colada beer that I was trying earlier.
Oh yeah.
And now that it's warmed up a little bit, I get a lot more of the coconut in it now than earlier. But I took a sip and I closed my eyes, and all I can see and smell is the hot island bartender.
And that's another factor, right? Like if you're drinking a pina colada from a hot babe on an island bar, I'd rather watch her make me a pina colada than pour me a beer on tap.
Yeah,
Just saying.
that's 100% the truth. That's 100% the truth. That's 100% the truth.
Can't argue
Yeah.
with that.
All right. So now let me get into my story about
Yeah, Thomas, tell us about how you got into craft beer. Let me go
the
get
craft
myself
beer
another
stuff,
craft beer.
and then I think we're gonna wrap this up afterwards.
I think so.
introduction to craft beer came as a bless you.
Bless you.
Came as a younger kid. There was always some sort of craft beer in the fridge growing up. My dad's friend, who was a microbrew connoisseur back in like the late '80s and early '90s, right as the craft beer scene really started to explode here in the states. So there was always something different, and he was always drinking something different and talking about his opinions. And I got away from it for a number of years until I was, oh, I don't know, in my early 30s. And a girl I was dating at the time asked me if I wanted to make a home brew, like just a kit, um, just some one-off beer that she wanted to make, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'm absolutely down with that. Um, so we got around to making a beer, and I immediately, from the first time that I met the process of making beer, um, I was immediately in love. Even though it was a kit that we made on the stove and it was a beer in a bag and all this other bullshit, but I knew that there was something in the future for me because I am a very process and analytical driven person and mathematical and all that other shit. And over the course of time, even though we split up, I knew that there was something about what was going on that I really enjoyed doing. And after we split up, I took some time off to not have to worry about anything that was associated with her. And I was like, no, 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 I'm good at this. I know I can do this. And I ended up working for a homebrew shop shortly thereafter, and I got to use their process and do more research and more research and more research. And then after doing things at home and experimenting on my own and having really good teachers and influencers and um, CJ, as a matter of fact, like every time I go to make a new brew, I I don't necessarily always come to you, but I talk to you about what I'm doing, and you give me feedback about what I'm doing and how I'm going about doing it. That just like propels my fucking OCD, ADD, ADHD brain into overdrive, thinking about how I can do it better, how I can do it different, how much more I still need to learn, and that's the one thing. Like there's so many things that you can learn that you eventually end up like running out of things to learn. There are still so many aspects to beer brewing that haven't even been uh, thought about and touched upon yet, that there's no way that me and you as brewers, whether it be professional or home, that we will ever stop learning about our craft. There's always going to be some new science, some new report, some new way to do things. Whether it's throwing your hops in at biotransform, doing your 60-30-15 typical hop profile through your boil. Again, your biotransform. How much do you want to add in your dry hop? How many do you want to add in a barrel? Like it's a never ending learning process, and that is what
Agreed.
keeps me attracted to it. It's the same thing with me for doing sound, because no matter how many times I mix the same band in the same venue, it's never the same twice. And beer is the
Nope.
exact same way.
I can bartend every single night of the week, and it's never going to be the same.
Yeah,
Gotta love that. Well, I think on that note,
Yeah, let's
probably about time to wrap up.
yeah, let's wrap this up. And I know the people can't find you anywhere, CJ, but
Nope.
He's a
Josh,
ghost.
I'm a ghost.
Josh, tell them where to find you. Tell them where to find you.
Find me on all the fucking places. You can find me on the Viking Peaches on Instagram, aka Josh Duran Photography on Facebook. You can find me at Josh Duran on Facebook. You can find me at Josh Reports on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And you can find me at Project Enjoy Everyday on Instagram and Facebook. I've got a clothing company. I do local snow reports, and I take photos. I do all sorts of shit, and it's all fun, all good times. And you should come and check it out and hang out sometime.
So, if you're looking for the podcast, you can find us on Instagram at final.gravity.podcast. You can find me at cousin_T. And if you want to support this podcast, please go to patreon.com/finalgravitypod and give us your fucking feedback. Guys, we will catch you next time. Thank you for joining us.